So when it comes to the fall of iDubbbz, I can sum the situation up in one sentence. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Hello friends, I'm the Life Professor. I'm a doctorate of business student, and I like to analyze what people and companies do right and wrong for success. Today we're going to go over the top 3 things that I think led to iDubbbz career problems and what you can do to avoid them in your life and business. So to do a quick recap, iDubbbz is an incredibly popular YouTuber who has over 7 million subscribers on his main channel. However, if you look at the main channel now, he struggles to get over a couple 100,000 views on his videos. So what happened to get into this kind of situation? So iDubbbz started out doing gamer news, but what got him popular was when he switched over to this series Kickstarter crap, where he would lampoon the god-awful terrible Kickstarters that were on display at that point in time.
This is no way to protect your child on a playground.
It's not? Hey, I'm not safe? I'm not safe?
And this started his personal brand of being like the full-time critic of YouTube, you know, just the gadfly of the community. And this was only amplified whenever he started his Content Cop series, where he was giving the same kind of treatment that he did to these Kickstarters to individual YouTube celebrities, holding their feet to the fire, you know, for their alleged misdeeds. And frankly, many of them needed this. They needed their comeuppance. There were some good points, there were some good critiques that were made during these videos, and that's why they received millions of views. However, this was building a personal brand as someone who was constantly tearing people down, which is not even a problem in and of itself, because, you know, even back in his heyday, he would make a content cop on someone and then like they would do a reverse content cop on him, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal because it wasn't that big of a deal to him. The problem came whenever one day iDubbbz woke up and he looked out onto his audience, and he was not happy with the, you know, coalition that he had built of viewers, you know.
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with.
In person?
Yeah, in person, that just sucked. They just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were, as I described earlier, were very much like antisocial, weird basement dwellers, and you know, the one time a month that they come out of their cave is going to restock on supplies at Walmart, and they run into me, their favorite YouTuber.
Now, many people would probably look at this and say that this is like an artificial distancing from his past views that he's trying to build up for some kind of success or something. I don't think that that's the case. He certainly hasn't done this, you know, for profit. It's not like, you know, everybody loves him now. He's pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. I genuinely believe that he could have been doing this material and then like later found out that he did not like the kind of audience that collected. The fact remains is that's an unfortunate opinion to have about your audience. One of the things that I learned in student teaching is that you can be as mean or as nice as you want to a classroom, but you have to be consistent. And it's the same way with building an audience. You can't say one thing one day and then say the opposite the next and expect everyone to like just go along with it. That's not how humans work. If you want to be the I'm tearing people apart guy, you better be okay with doing that for the rest of your career. Now there's ways to like slowly kind of boil the frog into like people accepting you as a new person, but it's a difficult process at best. Because whenever you do change, there's just going to be this disconnect that you have with this audience. So the important thing to remember here is always plan things out to the end. So the second thing that led to this big falling off of viewership was iDubbbz's personal relationship problems. Because I am a semi-functioning adult, I'm not going to go too far into the weeds on this because frankly, it doesn't matter. However, to avoid doing this would also be a problem because this was a big issue and this is definitely something that you can learn from. But to give you a brief overview of the situation, at some point Ian, iDubbbz, started dating another streamer, Anisa. For a variety of reasons, the community that he had formed really never took to Anisa. But the main problem started when at some point Anisa started selling lewd photos of herself online. And the reception to this in the community was iDubbbz getting pilloried like I have seen few get it. It was brutal. Now, what caused this huge outpouring of hatred? Well, frankly, the audience that iDubbbz had collected over the years included some
antisocial, weird basement dwellers.
So anyone that came into that photo was going to be getting some hatred from like these, parasocial, toxic people. I mean, it's just a fact. But just as importantly, for the past couple of years, iDubbbz had positioned himself in the community as the ultimate punisher of moral failings. So once there was something that this collection of enemies, trolls, and just dissatisfied fans had to latch on to, they were going to run roughshod with it. So when this information came out, it was like, brother, you've been taken over by the woman. She's the Yoko Ono of your channel. Because that's how these people talk, I guess. And Ian, for his part, poured gas on the fire whenever he made a reaction video to these comments, which just confirmed to all of these trolls that, hey, we have found the one thumbscrew that we can play with to get an emotional reaction consistently out of this guy. And accordingly, every controversy that he's had after this point has been directly tied to Anisa. Now, I'm just going to come out here and tell you, I don't know how this relationship is behind closed doors. What I can say is that this is a public relations nightmare. This is just not the way that you interact with an audience. It's just not how you do public relations. And to drop another gem of student teaching knowledge, you always want to keep your classroom, read audience, at about arm's length distance. You don't ever really want your students being that chummy with you. This is where the problems start. Now, that may seem a little bit disingenuous or cynical, Not you. You're like, no, bro, I want the real celebrity. I want the dirt. I want the slime, of their lupus test. Give it to me. I can handle it. No, you do not. I am including myself in this number too. But we may say, I want the real connection with these people. What we really want is the service that these celebrities provide. We either want education or entertainment from these people. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is, whenever you complicate this relationship with your personal problems, it starts to feel a little bit like involuntary weightlifting. Because I did not sign up to carry your burdens. While whenever it's done right, these personal relationships can be definitely endearing, when they are not managed correctly, they can reduce that endearment. So the lesson here is manage what the public sees of your personal life, because it can get personal. Throughout the entire history of the channel, iDubbbz has always been willing to switch up his content styles, from gaming news to Kickstarter crap to the content cop to the documentary type videos that he was making. He's always been willing to change and try these new formats. This flexibility is almost always a sign of creative health, that you're willing to try these flexible new things because, you're just trying to experiment and see what works best. However, as time has went on, Ian has shown that he has either an inability to or a lack of desire to stay with any one of these projects for an extended period of time. So you can look through these videos and see, based off view count or quality, that these were viable ideas, but for whatever reason, Ian has decided to not continue them for the audience. Now, some of these make sense, like the stopping of Content Cop, because he felt bad, being the guy who's always dunking on people, an opinion that probably deepened after he got beat up on the internet for a couple months. But the fact remains that many of these types of videos, like the documentary style, would have been a viable alternative to move him forward in a more authentic way. But we have not seen any more of these type of videos. And I wish that I could give a more definitive answer of why this is happening, but frankly, he's just not been doing that much, so there's not much for me to comment on. Throughout life, you always have to be evaluating to stick or to drop whatever you're doing. And if you err on either side of that, it's going to be disastrous. So the lesson that you can take from this mistake is that in life, you must enter whatever plans that you decide on doing with some boldness. But while all of these tips may help you find success in life, all of it will be for naught unless if you look good, which you can get some help from in this video.